Hi, welcome to episode 15 of the Weekly Wave. I'm Matthew Lyons.
And I'm Aaron Johnson.
And our guests here today are Miss Maggie Giles and Mr. Brian Claus. How are you guys?
Good. How are you?
Not bad. How are you guys doing?
Doing great.
Good.
All right,
MCAS was a little bit rough, but
cut you off there. It's a nice Wednesday. Pretty warm out. It's becoming spring. But on today's topic, something a little bit drearier.
Yes.
We're talking about a bill recently passed in Florida that they plan to arm teachers as a defense to school shooting. Like, how do you guys feel about that? Because I feel like that's wicked stupid.
I guess my first question is it being required that teachers are being armed, or is that something that they can opt into?
it's
I haven't gotten a chance to really look over it myself, so.
it's not a policy that you have to do it. It's not a requirement, but it is an option that teachers who want to can.
I mean, my opinion doesn't change. I don't like it one bit, but.
Yeah.
I think at least making it on a volunteer basis is better. Personally, I think that's crossing the line to expect a teacher to carry a weapon into a classroom where it leaves so many more altercations that could happen at that point in time. That weapon could come in contact with a student, or a number of things could happen on a daily basis, and it ends up being more of a danger to the public than it ends up being a service of protection.
I completely agree with that. Because if you have it, even if it's locked up, kids could break into that lock if they really want to. It's a horrible act, but at the same time, it's possible.
Yeah, and I mean, if you think about it this way, assume that nothing out of the ordinary of your classroom happens, so you don't have to worry about a kid coming in possession of that firearm. Think about what the mentality does to a classroom, knowing that there is an actual weapon in the classroom that somebody can get to. So beyond anything, any actual event happening, just the psychology or the mentality of the classroom completely changes for that.
And it also changes the mental dynamic of the classroom in the sense of that a weapon is how you solve a problem.
Yeah.
That we automatically resort to violence. We have our Alice training now, which empowers people to make choices that best suit themselves. You arm a teacher in a classroom with a weapon, that takes students out of the equation in the sense of being able to think for themselves and how they're going to respond in certain situations. And they kind of lose their own sense of power that they need to feel safe for themselves.
And also, I feel that it kind of adds a bit of uncertainty and unsafety to a school, because you had, like, you're saying my school isn't safe enough that we have to keep a gun in the classroom in order for, like, to ensure the safety. It's just, it's a horrible world we live in now.
Yeah. I mean, I don't understand the mentality of like, okay, so there's a gun issue, and school shootings are becoming more and more frequent. So let's put more guns into the school. Like, especially with teachers. Like, we have SRO officers that patrol the school, and that's, I think, a great way to try and prevent this, because they're trained and it's already a part of the job. But if you allow teachers to carry a firearm, it, like, kind of makes them think maybe that, like, they should, and it could make them, if it's a new teacher, it could make them, like, rethink going into education.
Absolutely.
And I want to ask you,
Yeah.
Mr. Claus, you worked in China for, what, 2 to 3 years?
The last 2 years.
Last 2 years. Do you guys have this issue of just, like, people, like, I don't know, I wouldn't say shooting up schools, but just, like, massacres or, like, issues in school?
So it's difficult to say for sure, because the exposure to such things was so limited to, communist country, that there are a lot of limitations to information that you get.
Yeah.
So as far as shootings go, I never heard of any. However, in one of my last 2 weeks that I was there was a stabbing. I guess a parent or I think it was a parent was upset at the school for one reason or another. I don't remember exactly what it was. Maybe the kid wasn't doing as well. Maybe he was being bullied. I don't know the details of it, but he went to the school and he stabbed about 2 or 3 kids.
Wow.
Just outside the campus entrance. It was quite shocking, because, I mean, quite frankly, where I was in China, in Shanghai, I'd never felt safer. part of that is because there are cameras literally everywhere. You're being watched. So you knew if something, if you did something, you were caught.
Yeah.
And I think that provides a bit of safety, but you sacrifice personal privacy for that as well. But as far as these school shootings, it just didn't. I never heard about them. It just wasn't something that was broadcast. So, like I said, whether or not it happened, I'm not entirely sure. It just wasn't. You don't hear about it nearly like you do here.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. And also, I'd like to brush upon, since arming the teachers is not really a good idea, what would be a good idea? Would we focus more on the mental health aspects of school shooters? Like, these people need help, so we can avoid the issue to begin with. So say bullying is happening in the school, or the kid's doing, I don't know what caused him or her to do such a heinous act, but should we focus more on the core mental health of kids, or should we focus on preventing or reacting to school shooters like Alice drill? It's kind of like a reaction.
Yeah, proactive versus reactive.
Yeah, should we be proactive and kind of kill it at the source? But also, I don't think it'd be easy to kill at the source, because we can't just assume everybody's a shooter. So what I'm asking you guys, what would be an effective, in your mind, what would be an effective strategy to kind of get rid of this? It's a loaded question.
Tag 'em it.
Yeah, it's a loaded question.
You can jump in
take
there
your
first.
time.
So I think we move forward to an Alice drill. It's something that's been used with the military for years. It's about being proactive, being aware of your surroundings, and being able to advocate for yourself. It always astounded me that part of our drills were to lock down and stay in place, to shelter in place. And that's not completely removed from the Alice drill, but that's all we had in the beginning. If an incident were to occur in a mall, an airport, the grocery store, you would try to leave if someone were dangerous and entering the area near you.
Mm-hmm.
But yet in a school, we always said just shelter in place and stay there. So that kind of always messed with my mind a little bit. Now that we're moving forward, we have these strategies in place. I think it's twofold. We have to address the mental health piece. We have to realize, as teachers, the student in the classroom is a living, breathing person that they may be carrying baggage that they are unaware of, that we are unaware of, into the classroom on a daily basis, and we need to kind of do the best that we can to get to know them, to make sure that they feel safe, to make sure that if they are feeling unsafe emotionally, that they communicate that with us, and that we can best help them any way that we can. But we still need to focus on what we can do to stay safe. So I think we can't eliminate something like an Alice preventative strategy, but I think we need to do more to look at what causes these mental health problems in our society today. They've always been there, but why are they on the forefront now? What is the root of that? And we need to explore that a little further.
Yeah, I mean, I think Alice is great because it gives you a plan if in the event of, but if there aren't any preventative measures taken beforehand, you're going to find yourself reacting more and more frequently.
Yeah.
Alice is, like I said, it's a great thing to have, but it's better to have and not need, right? And then, than to need and not have. So, although it is great that it's there, it only does so much. Take care of the preventative, and like you said, you have a plan, but hopefully you never need to use it. And as Ms. Giles said, getting to know the students, what they're going through, whether it's at home or whether it's in school, whatever the issues come from, allowing them to know, hey, listen, you've got adults around here who will listen to you, who will open up with you, who will ultimately take care of you.
Yeah.
That's part of the reason why we chose this profession. Is we care about people, and we want to help them in any way that we can. So I think that's the best place to start. But as we said, it's always good to have a reactionary plan, if ever need be.
Going back to the bill that was passed in Florida, what do you guys think is going to happen in the coming weeks or the coming months in Florida, as a reaction from students and teachers as well to the bill?
It's funny, it seems that most events occur in Florida. um,
Not like the rest of us.
and there is a change because of the location. It's our most southern state, even though in my mind it doesn't, to me, represent as the Deep South,
Yeah.
as Texas would. I mean, you talk about arming a teacher in a Texas classroom, it's totally different because the mindset of carrying a weapon is different in that state. So because Florida's still East Coast, there's a more reserved mindset. We have that right to bear arms. But when it comes to the classroom, I think, and it comes to the state of Florida, I think people are going to start to divide in the sense of, yes, we need to do this because of instances that have recently occurred in our state. And then I think there's going to be that other side that is going to say, no, it's not their job, it's unsafe to have a weapon in the school, what if someone gets their hands on it, and they're going to argue both sides. I don't think that there's going to be an easy solution for them. I think it's going to cause a lot of controversy. It may also cause a lot of teacher turnover for teachers who might be in buildings that do not feel supported by the administrative staff, that may make them feel like they have to carry a weapon when they're not comfortable with that. I think it's going to make a lot of people rethink going into the field in that state or an early exodus from that field in that state.
All right. Well, I think that was a great discussion.
Yeah.
Can we ask you one question?
Sure.
Absolutely.
Since you're students in the classroom, what do your teachers need to do to make you feel like you can come to us if you are struggling with an issue?
I feel like, well, me personally, a lot more teachers are doing this now. They're becoming more personable with children. Like we have this English teacher, Mr. Cutter. He's been on the show before. He's a very funny dude. He's personable. He's a down to earth person that I can relate to. So I feel comfortable going to him. So I feel like teachers really need to. Well, there's a fine line between profession and then unprofessional.
Mhm.
So I feel like teachers need to find that place to be professional, but also be comfortable with their students. I feel like conversation with students would help a lot more. Instead of just teacher-student, it could be just a group of people.
Yeah, I view a lot of the teachers here as my friends, in a way. I respect them, of course, but if I feel like I can just go up to them and talk to them whenever I want. And using Mr. Cutter as an example, he will talk about anything, whether it be in the classroom, after school, and we learned in this year alone a lot about him and his personal life, and I feel like that kind of takes away a lot of the fear that some students might have, oh, it's a big scary teacher, she might give me a detention, something like that. But I feel like you said, this that stereotype of a strict teacher is starting to fade away, and I think that's that makes students like me and you a lot happier and safer, for sure.
Yeah.
Good. Awesome.
Thank you.
Right.
Thanks for watching. Tune in next week to see an all-new episode of The Weekly Wave.
And make sure to follow us on our Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at the Green Wave Gazette.
Thanks for watching.
Goodbye.